The jungle between heartbeats. In the deepest, quietest part of the jungle, there was a secret that only two sisters knew. Maya, the older, was so calm and still that butterflies sometimes mistook her for a flower. Her sister, Lila, was usually a whirlwind of energy, but she had learned from Maya how to be perfectly, utterly quiet. "The real magic," Maya would whisper, "doesn't happen when the jungle is noisy. It happens in the silence between the chirps and rustles. It happens in the jungle between heartbeats." Lila didn't quite understand, but she trusted her sister. One day, a strange, creeping grayness began to spread through their home. It wasn't a fog or a shadow, it was a silence, a heavy, empty quiet that smothered the jungle's sounds. The hummingbirds stopped humming mid-flight, hovering silently. The monkeys' playful shrieks were cut short. The river seemed to flow without its familiar gurgle. The jungle was being frozen, muted. The sisters found a tiny, shimmering frog, a lumina frog, whose skin usually pulsed with soft light. Now, it was dull and motionless in Lila's palm. "It's not asleep," Maya said, her voice a hushed breath in the overwhelming quiet. "It's paused. The rhythm is broken." "What rhythm?" Lila asked, her own voice sounding strangely loud. "The heartbeat of the jungle," Maya explained. "All the sounds together make one big living heartbeat. Something has stolen the space between the beats. There is no silence for the magic to live in, so everything is stuck." They had to find the source of the gray silence. Moving through the frozen jungle was eerie. A dragonfly was suspended in the air, its wings still. A drop of water was halted halfway down a leaf. The sisters were the only things moving. They followed the grayness to the oldest tree in the jungle, the grandfather tree. At its base was a creature they had never seen before. It was small and mole-like, with enormous, sad ears. It was sucking up all the tiny, magical silences, the pause after a bird sings, the quiet moment before a leaf falls, and storing them in a pouch on its belly, which glowed with a dull gray light. It was a silence gatherer, and it was hoarding the pauses because it was afraid of the noise. "It's scared," Lila realized, her explorer's heart softening. "It thinks the quiet moments will be lost forever in all the noise." "But the quiet moments need the noise to exist," Maya whispered. "They are partners like us." They knew they couldn't fight the creature. They had to show it what it was destroying. Maya sat down cross-legged and closed her eyes. She became so still that Lila could barely see her breathe. She was searching for the last, tiny heartbeat of the jungle, buried deep beneath the silence. Lila had an idea. She crept closer to the silence gatherer, not to scare it, but to hum a very, very soft tune. It was the tune of the river, the one it had stolen. The creature flinched, clutching its pouch of silences tighter. But then, Maya found it. A single, deep, quiet times thump asterisk, the heartbeat of the grandfather tree. In the space that followed that thump, in that tiny jungle between heartbeats, Maya poured all her calm. She created a perfect, peaceful silence. Not a dead silence, but a living, waiting one. Lila heard the silence and understood. She stopped humming. In that perfect pause, the silence gatherer looked up, confused. This silence felt different. It felt full, not empty. Then, Lila made a single clear sound. A soft times click times with her tongue, like the first drop of rain. The sound was small, but in the perfect silence Maya held, it was beautiful. It echoed gently. The silence gatherer's eyes widened. It had never heard a sound feel so peaceful. It timidly opened its pouch. A wisp of gray silence drifted out, and in the space it left, the sound of a butterfly's wings fluttering returned for a brief second before fading. It was working. Together the sisters began to rebuild the rhythm. Maya would find and hold a quiet moment, a space between heartbeats. Then Lila would fill it with a single, perfect sound, the chirp of a cricket, the rustle of a leaf. Each time, the silence gatherer would release a little more of the stolen silence, looking less afraid and more amazed. Finally, with a great joyful shudder, the last of the gray silence poured out of the creature's pouch. The jungle erupted back into life around them. The hummingbirds hummed, the monkeys shrieked, the river gurgled. The lumina frog in Lila's hand pulsed with light and leaped away. The silence gatherer wasn't gray anymore. It was a soft, shimmering silver. It looked at the sisters, nodded gratefully, and then burrowed into the roots of the grandfather tree, not to hide, but to listen. Maya and Lila walked home, hand in hand, through the wonderfully noisy jungle. They now understood the secret completely. The magic wasn't in the noise or the silence alone. It was in the balance. It was in the beautiful, breathless moment right in between the jungle, between heartbeats, where anything was possible.